What's the best wingman or wingwoman story you have? I was hanging out with a cute girl. We were getting drinks at a bar and sat next to a friendly drunken gay guy. We're all chatting. Gay guy starts hitting on me pretty hardcore. I laugh it off a few times. Cute girl excuses herself to use the restroom. I turn to gay guy and say, dude, I'm flattered, but I'm not gay. I'm actually trying to get cute girl to like me. You got my back. Gay guy says, I got you bro. Let's do this, and closes it with a fist bump. Instant wingman. Cute girl returns from the bathroom, and gay guy says, you should have heard all the nice stuff he was saying about you while you were gone. He kept it up the rest of the night. Awesome. That was heartwarming, seriously. A friend of mine was crushing hard on a girl we met a few times at a bar. She was in an abusive relationship, but he was determined to win her over. So one night, the girl and her boyfriend were drunk, fighting like normal when he said enough was enough. I was DD that night, and I knew he was going to get his butt kicked if he stepped in, so I told him I was going to give him a window, and if he fricked us up I was never going to be his wingman again. I go up to the bar, walk right between the fighting couple and go to order a drink. The drunk guy did not like this show of disregard for his manhood, and immediately turned me around and punched me right in the face. I take a dive, and he gets tossed out into the street. The bouncers thank me for not fighting back and get me an ice pack and a coke. I sipped it while I watched my friend get the girl. That was 3 years ago, and I'm taking the engagement photos on Friday. Taking a punch for your buddy to get the girl. Dang, you are too good, sir. Hats off to you. So based on most of the stories, one of a wingman's top duties is to sleep with a fat girl, because otherwise hot girl wouldn't sleep with the main guy. Till hot girls are fat girls wingwoman. Till hot girls are fat girls wingwoman. I think the proper term here is bombardier. A word of advice to the other guys here, but if you have never tried having a wingwoman, do it. I swear that when I go out with a girlfriend of mine as my wingwoman, it's 10 times more likely to be a successful night. Typical situation, me and my friend hanging out at a bar, enjoying a drink. When I see a girl I'm interested in, I'll point her out. When she walks by, wingwoman jumps in, OMG, I love your top. Blah blah blah. A minute or two later, hey, meet my friend here. I think there's something about having another female introduce you that just appeals to women. A friend and I would occasionally use a unique approach to picking up women. He had a tough time talking to girls, so we devised a system where he would approach the two females and inform them that I had taken a liking to one of them. Unfortunately, I was a foreign exchange student from Spain, Croatia, Finland, Germany, etc., and he would translate the conversation to English for me. Anyways, one night after far too many brews, I decided to be a German exchange student named Hans. I see him approach the group of females, and he begins to bring them to me. As he turns around, I see a terrified look on his face, as if something went terribly wrong. As they all get to me, he introduces the girls and whispers into my ear that the cutie on the left is German. Luckily I knew very basic German, introductions, hello, etc., so I could stumble through the beginning of the conversation. I would say things like Berlin, hoping that she was asking where I was from in Germany. I then smile and ask Pilsner. She gets visibly excited, and we go to get a beer. And then the unthinkable happened. In a moment that I still get asked about to this day, I began to sing. I sang loud and boisterously, a song that I wasn't aware that I knew the lyrics to. She then joined, and we sang this song at the top of our lungs, and I grabbed her and kissed her after, and I made it through the rest of the night without saying a word. We took the ladies to my friend's apartment, and the rest is history. The song? It's called You Can't Be Merry All the Time. My grandfather was German, and when he would drive me around as a child, he would play a tape of old German songs. For some reason, I had remembered the lyrics to that one, and sang its butt off. Sounds like your grandfather was the true wingman. I've been waiting to tell this story. At a party, I don't know anybody really, and I'm talking to these two hot girls. I'm doing fine, but not so well that I am sure I'm going to close the deal. Out of nowhere, this guy who was leaving the party walks straight up to our little group, throws his arm over my shoulder and slaps me on the chest and says, I gotta go man. Sorry to leave you here all alone, but we'll hang out next week. Cool, he turns to the girls and says, did he tell you that he saved my life? Too modest about it. I tell him to brag but he doesn't like to. Anyway, see you later man. Tell them the story. Then this random stranger turns and walks out of the party, leaving me there with two babes waiting with bated breath for this story of my heroism. Things turned around after that. TLDR. If you are leaving a party, be someone's random wingman and pay that crap forward. Tomb of the Unknown Wingman. My friend Shane was punk rock as crap. One night after work, he and I went out with this girl that I'd been crushing on from work for a long time. She suggests we go back to her house to have some drinks and hang out with her roommate. Her roommate, not attractive. Like, not even a little bit. Shane sizes the situation up real quickly and sees what he has to do. Grabs a bottle of tequila and challenges Beasley roommate to a drinking contest. After the drinking contest, he takes one for the team, cuddles up with Beasley, and proceeds to make out with her ferociously to free up the girl I'm crushing on. Good times ensue for me. It's not a great story or well written, but I felt like telling it because I haven't told a good Shane story in a while. I miss Shane. He passed away a few years ago, being punk rock as crap until the end. Love you buddy, best wingman, and one of the best people I ever knew. I need to hear more Shane stories. I was at a game con, and I'd been hanging out hitting on this hot redhead for the first 2 days of the con. However, her gay brother, by which I literally mean homosexual, was attached to her at the hip. I could never get them apart, therefore, he was constantly dong blocking me. Finally, on the Saturday night of the convention, he informed his hot sister that he wasn't going to be around. He had a mysterious rendezvous with a secret admirer at the restaurant down the street. This was fortuitous for me, as it gave me all the time I needed, son brother, to seal the deal with the redhead. I was thinking I'd just lucked into this, and the next day, I was on cloud 9, whistling and grinning, when my friend Jim asked, "So, how was last night?" I say, "Last night was freaking fantastic." Jim nods and says, "You're welcome." I was still slightly confused when, not 30 seconds later, we bump into redhead and ubiquitous brother, and he's still in mid-rant complaining, who sends someone flowers with a nice note asking them out and then stands them up for dinner. I was expecting the friend to bang the brother. Was wingmaning for a friend. Asked this girl if I could sit down in the space next to her, and she gave me a strange look, so straight away I played the "don't worry, I'm not going to hit on you, I'm getting married. I just can't find a seat in this club" card to disarm her. Then when my friend walked by, I called him over and asked if he could hold my seat for me whilst I went to the loo, and bingo, he's in there with this girl who turned out to be quite a posh totty. Perfect wingman skills. He got her number and at the end of the evening followed her out of the club. At this point he decided to do an air hump behind her back, not realizing all her friends could see him, and never heard from her again. Hahaha, the ending was great. Also, I went to the loo and bingo, he's in there with this girl who turned out to be quite a posh totty. This may be the most British sentence in history. Halloween in Santa Barbara. I have a few friends up, and I'm showing one of them around IV when two drunk women ask us where the beach is. Now, if you've ever been to IV, you know that the beach is pretty easy to find. But us being savvy, we agree to show them the way. One is hanging off my friend, and I'm walking with a second. The one I'm talking to is telling me that they both got dumped by their boyfriends and decided to come down to SB to have some fun and maybe have a threesome together, to make their exes jealous. I, unfortunately, had a GF at the time, so I asked if she thought my friend was cute. She said yes. I asked what his chances were of getting laid with the friend. 90%. I said great, and passed her off to him and whispered to her show him a good time. With a wink, I was gone. I went back to my apartment and relayed the story to my other buddy, and about as I finished, my friend showed up womanless. He was peeved that I had left him and came to find out why. He nearly crap himself when he heard the story. The horror. I meet a girl from Liverpool in my local UK style pub. I live in Canada, and once I get over the fanboy behavior because I'm a huge Reds fan, we notice that we have a ton in common. We're both single and definitely interested. Her friend is there, is cute, so she intimates that if I can find a person to keep her occupied, then Ms. Liverpool will be gracing my bed that night. I have two friends in the pub with me, both virgins. both shy as heck, and who have both complained 20 ways from Sunday about that situation. Neither are as good looking as the friend. They give her a once over and decline. Yes, my best wingman story is my 2 wingmen dropping the ball. You should have got your friends royally drunk first. So being a girls volleyball umpire, from previous posts, I would usually hang out with the girls after practice. I learned their ways and I was accepted amongst one of them. One day, I overheard one of them saying they had a crush on B. This was in high school, mind you, and this kind of chatter was standard. All of the other girls agreed. B was cute. Now, B is a friend of mine, but he was incredibly shy and was mediocre at socializing with girls. So I merely stepped in and told the group that B was an awesome guy and saved my back countless times. A+++ would do again, sort of thing. Fast forward a couple of days later, I see B walking down the hallway. He is surrounded by the volleyball girls and chatting it up with them. Long story short, he gets the courage and successfully asks a girl out who had a crush on him. I recall myself giving him a fatherly nod across the cafeteria, standing up and walking out of the school with my coat over the shoulder into the sunset, even though it was second period. TLDR, a popular chap amongst the women. I gave my good friend an amazing review which led him getting a date. I recall myself giving him a fatherly nod across the cafeteria, standing up and walking out of the school with my coat over the shoulder into the sunset, even though it was second period. Literary masterpiece. Bravo. Years ago I was at a party with friends. The girl I had been crushing on for most of the year walked in. My buddy Scott knew I had caught feelings for this girl and was determined that he would make it happen for me. I guess he got tired of hanging around with forever alone guy. He walked up to her and her gaggle of friends and said, "Hey ladies, you should escort my friend Derpium, me, back to his apartment. He gets lost easily." For some reason she was quite endeared by that and ended up chatting with me for the rest of the evening. I invited her back to my house, and she jokingly claimed she would only go back if we had vodka. Scott overheard this, left the party, stole a bottle of expensive vodka from the liquor store and dropped it off at my apartment. He texted me and told me of his actions. I ended up taking the girl home, along with one of her friends for Scott. 3 years later, I am still with Vodka Girl and we are planning on getting married in the fall. Scott will be best man at my wedding because I know he is directly responsible for getting us together. Scott, the Red Baron of Wingman. Story 1. When my husband and I were dating, we went out for dinner and drinks with a few of his friends. One of his friends was complaining about how he couldn't seem to get a girl to pay attention to him. I called over the waitress, told her that this was a nice young man who didn't believe in himself and just needed a little encouragement. She smiled, kissed him on the cheek, and she gave him her number after they chatted a while. Apparently they went out on a few dates. I won awesome points that night. Story 2. My best friend is a bit of a klutz when it comes to girls, and he has pretty low self-esteem for it. He visited me during one of my years at university, so I did the usual party hopping rounds with him and invited a small group of girls. I asked one of my especially sluttier friends to make him feel special. After we had a few drinks, I told him to make a move on my especially friend. They ended up going back to her place, where he proceeded to lose his virginity. Not only did I make him feel like a man without him knowing I had set up the whole thing, I still hold the prize for finding him a redhead to take his virginity. He loves redheads. She thought he was adorable, but she wasn't up to making a commitment. So, whenever they got together, she taught him a thing or two about what women want in bed. To this day, he still loves me for it. I sent that virgin a redhead. Virgins love redheads. My roommate went out one night and I stay in because I had a big test at 8 AM the next morning. He proceeds to strike it up with this girl. She was hesitant to come back to our place because she didn't want to make her friend go home alone. So my friend suggested they both come back and meet me and drink some more at our place. So my friend texted me, "Get up, you're drinking and getting laid. Take some shots. I'll owe you one." So I got up at 2 AM, had a couple drinks, and he brought the two girls over. They were both fairly attractive girls and pretty funny. We proceed to hook up with them both. Pretty mutual wingman action. I occupied her friend and he brought me a girl without me having to do any work. Oh, and I aced my test at 8 AM with a pretty nice morning after buzz going. Room service booty, the best kind around. I was best man in 2 weddings one summer. After having a really good time with the other members of the wedding party at the first wedding, I told the groom for the second wedding, you're going to set me up good, right? One of the bridesmaids was single. He talked me up to her before I even met her, and I ended up marrying her. Bummer dude. When my wingwoman convinced 2 females to have a threesome with me after boasting about how good I am in bed. The best wingman you can get is a wingwoman. That's because wingwomen fly stealth, while wingmen are more likely to get spotted by the radar. I was a single dude in DC for a while. Well, chicks in DC only care about 2 things, power and money. This is clearly evident when the second question they ask after what's your name is what do you do for a living. So I devised a plan one drunken night with my buddy. I was going to tell everyone I was a blimp driver and see what happens. The beauty in this is that they have no freaking idea how much a blimp driver makes. Frick if I know either. And B, you can make up crap that tells them you're only in town for one night and will need to make this quick. So anyway, I'm conversing with an attractive member of the opposite sex and sure enough, what do you do for a living? Me, I'm a blimp driver. We're called drivers because, well, you don't really pilot a blimp. I drive one of the good years. It's parked in Dulles right now. You should come out tomorrow and see it. Okay, I'm calling bulls on this. Me, over my shoulder. Hey Derp, tell her what I do for a living. Derp, he's a blimp driver, and he goes back to drinking. Me, see? Believe me now? You're really a blimp driver? Me, yep. And I pulled this trick for a good 2 years with my buddy. It was fun times. After takeoff and once I got to altitude for our cap, my wingman saved my life. The oxygen wasn't flowing to my mask, but I didn't know. I was apparently slurring my speech over the radio, a common early symptom of hypoxia, and things just weren't clicking when he told me to pull my reserve oxygen lever. So he breaks formation and puts his 18 right in front of me, then does a wing wag as he tells me pull the green lever over the radio. At the time I didn't really understand, but I did what he said. Oxygen comes back, my head clears, and I didn't end up a corpse sitting in a $50 million aircraft as it flew in a straight line until it ran out of fuel. I hate submitting to threads like these because I fear I will never get seen with over 2,000 comments. But here it goes. Owed my friend some money, so he was sitting in this bar talking to this girl, and I could see things weren't going so well. He didn't know I was there. He was a lifeguard. I bought a pitcher of beer and sent it over to the table. He didn't know where it came from. I went over and said, "Hey, I'm not sure if you remember me. I was the guy at the beach a week ago. My dog jumped off a lifeguard stand and went into shock, and you did CPR on him. Just wanted to thank you for that." He looked at me all shocked, and the girl said, "Oh my god, that's so wonderful." I said, "Yeah, I know. This guy is something." I sent he and gave him a head nod and smacked him on the back. He got laid that night. Back in college, I saw this girl in the student center and she was ridiculously gorgeous. It was one of those jaw hits the floor tongue rolls out moments. I can't explain why I went crazy for this girl without knowing anything about her, but I did. I said to my buddy standing next to me, "Holy crap, I'm going to marry that girl." As soon as I said that, she went into a crowded auditorium and I instantly became depressed, thinking I'd never see her again. Fast forward a few hours later and my fraternity is throwing a party at our house. I'm pretty happy drunk at this point. My friend, who I was with earlier, runs up to me, holding the wrist of the girl I was freaking out about. He says 3 words, "This is X," and then he vanished into the crowded basement. We've been together for over 6 years now. I can't explain why I went crazy for this girl. She was ridiculously gorgeous. The world may never know. Years ago in college, a female friend of mine, I knew she had a crush on me, blew a guy to get him out of the way for me to blow a girl he and I were both going for at a party. That's kind of a sad story. I imagine tears running down this girl's cheek as she thinks of you with that other girl, all as she blows some other dude. At a packed bar, met up with a girl who I had been talking to for a while. We're making out in the bar and decide to go somewhere more private. So naturally we got online for the bathroom together. My buddy, good looking dude who has a reputation for being a phenomenal wingman, gets online behind us. But we don't talk or anything because I'm obviously busy entertaining the girl. We finally get to the front of the line. Me and the girl slip into the bathroom and get to it. Meanwhile my buddy, in a stroke of genius, waits about 30 seconds before he starts screaming and slamming on the door as if he's pee that we're taking so long. That way, the other people in line who actually were pee wouldn't feel the need to do so themselves. Bought me a plenty of time in there and helped me get it in. Great dude. TL. DR. My buddy faked out a bunch of bathroom goers at a bar to help me get laid. Once upon a time in college, I knew a socially awkward nerdy hot chick who ran our local anime club. She was permanently single because no male in the club had the courage to ask her out and she was too shy to ask someone out herself. I mentioned to her that she should ask someone out, and she asked who I'd meant me, but things had already gone wrong if I was being asked this question. So I said the name of my first single male friend who came to mind who she also knew. She refused, again being too shy, so I pulled out a nickel and handed it to her, explaining that I had just paid her to say yes if he asked her out, and she couldn't go back on it or that would be theft. Then I skedaddled before she could work out what I'd just done. I found said friend and tried to get him to ask her out, but again, anime club. So I handed him a nickel and explained that I'd just paid him to ask her out and now he had to do it or it would be theft. Then I skedaddled. It worked perfectly. They actually went out for a while until she broke his heart and to this day he's a broken shell of a man. I am such a good friend. You're not a man until you're a broken shell of a man. I'm at a bar, pretty drunk. A rock band is playing. I'm walking through to the bar when this cute girl comes up and starts slow dancing with me. This goes for about 30 seconds. Then she leans in and goes, "I can't stay and dance with you all night, so how about a kiss instead?" So I kiss this complete stranger. She smiles, so I leaned in again and we kissed for a while longer. Then she walked away forever. I walked up to the friend I was with like, what the frick just happened? He smiled and said he just walked up to her and said, "I told my friend I'd get a cute girl to slow dance with him tonight." It was his first and best wingman attempt. Don't know how relevant this is, but one time I walk into a room of about 15 girls. I ask what they are doing. They tell me they're comparing breast sizes. Me being the quick thinker that I am say, well, it's not about the breast, it's all about the nipple. Some of the girls look at each other and then say, "I kinda want to show you so you can judge." At this point, I realize what's about to happen. I saw, hold on, let me grab my friend. I go grab a buddy. We come back. Sure enough, all these girls start flashing us and asking us how they look. Still can't believe it actually happened. I have a tale of the worst wingman in the history of the world. I road trip to a neighboring rival college town. We wear burnt orange, they wear maroon, to go to a large frat party with a group of friends. My friend had told me before the party that he would dong block me if I tried to run off with any girls. He wanted bro time. He is that guy. The party was awesome. We spent the first hour pouring booze into our skulls as fast as we could. Then out of nowhere an extremely attractive blonde girl struck up conversation with me. She was from a small town one my good friends was from. They knew all the same people. Their parents were even good friends. Basically it was a perfect wingman move without him even being present. Talking turned to dancing and then the troll noticed. First, he tried to cut in on the dancing. I told him to frick off. Then he showered us in beer. We were drunk enough that she thought it was kind of funny and threw beer back on him. Then he started talking about my recent ex. She ignored him. I don't know why, but despite him being a total butt, she didn't run away. Then as the night was winding down, we were about to go get back onto the buses. The troll posted up about 5 feet from us talking, dropped tro, and waggled his wiener at us. Sure enough, this was too much and she ran away. My friend didn't even remember doing it the next day. Ever since it has been known as the night of the wiener wiggle. I have horrible grammar, sorry. So sophomore year, of college, yes there were more than one. I became good friends with a freshman girl, very platonic. At first, she was separated by 10 hours from the love of her life who went to another U. Classic. After a while she stopped talking about him as it turned out he had broken up with her. Next thing you know and we're in bed. It only lasted a month or so but the friendship remarkably remained strong. Fast forward 12 months. She got back together with the old beau and got engaged. I was asked by her and the chap to be in the wedding. Awkward doesn't do justice the feeling I had both accepting in the day of the wedding. I didn't have romantic feeling for her, but dang. I slept with her and now here I am watching her get married over the shoulder of the best man. At the reception I feel like the world's biggest extra wheel. About 30 minutes into the post-wedding party the newly Mrs. Derp walks quickly by me and says tall one. Red hair. Seriously, I asked as there was only one tall redhead in the room. A very beautiful bridesmaid. Done deal, she said with a wry smile. I had never been with anybody taller than myself before, nor a redhead. This was a two for dreams were made of. She was at least 6 inches taller than me, with long legs for her body to boot. I felt like a kid on a jungle gym set crawling all over wild delight. She wingmaned for you on her wedding day. Epic. While I was in college, my little brother, 2 years younger, came to live me with for a while. Being the awesome big brother I am, I set us up for a double date. I had met this girl on the web. We chatted and what have you. I arranged for my brother and I to meet the web girl and one of her friends to meet up. Web girl is 18. Brunette and sporting the body of a goddess. Web girl's friend is 18. Blonde and somehow even hotter. The meetup goes very well. Web girl is into me. Web girl's friend is showing signs of being into little bro. We agree to hang out again the next weekend. They would come to my place. Roommates are all out of town. Web girl, blondie, little bro and me would watch movies and let the night take us where it willed. Well, the day of, my brother opts to bail on me. Never did figure out why. I call the girls to let them know, but they are already en route. Turns out the blonde was only going for my brother because she didn't want to step on web girl's toes. It also turns out they were both ready for something they've never done before. I was but one man with 2 hands and more bosom than I had ever been offered at once. My night went well, very well. I did you proud, internets. I did you proud. TL. DR. Little brother wingman bailed, leaving me in an empty house with 2 hot 18-year-olds. Best wingman ever. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.